Hello, today is Monday. It is September the 24th. And the Bible reading for today is from the book of Titus. It is chapter 1. Titus was one of the people that Paul mentored, Paul the great apostle. Another we know about is Timothy, and we have implications of some others. Titus was one that served under Paul's training and then ended up being a pastor on the island of Crete. The verse for today is a part of a gathering of verses, if you will, if I put them all together, of verses that give me trouble in the Bible. I have trouble understanding them as they are and can only think of God's continuing revelation to us. Let me tell you what I mean. The verses that I picked are verse 12 and verse 13. They say as follows: "It is like one of their own prophets once said, the people of Crete always tell lies. They are greedy and lazy like wild animals. That surely is a true saying, and you should be hard on such people so you can help them grow stronger in their faith." Wow. Tough chapter. Tough stuff in there. And I'm really conflicted over the difference between the leadership principles in this one chapter and those found in Timothy, 2 Timothy, which we just read last week. There, the leadership principle was being calm, being patient, trying to be humble, lead people with gentleness. These verses are not like that. These are some of the verses that give me trouble, and I view them as being very judgmental and prejudicial. Now, there are cultural artifacts, if you will, that are in the Bible, I believe, and God's truth must be discovered in spite of them. And so we want to be able to do that. And two ways that I do that is I look at two verses which really point me to God's truth, I feel. The first, and by the way, if you're just looking at this in video, you might go to the written portion of the blog and follow the links. The first are some verses in Hebrews where the writer tells us that God's truth has been given to us in the Bible, but his final truth is given to us in Jesus. The other is Jesus himself, when John, the writer of John, quotes him as saying that the Holy Spirit will come, his Spirit will come and lead us into his truth. These verses imply to me that Jesus wants us to have, I don't say truth beyond Bible, but an experience of God's truth that is greater even than the written revelation. And in fact, I believe that is exactly what happened, so that believers led the fight and still lead the fight against human slavery and trafficking. So though these verses give me problems, what I want to do is glean what leadership resources and principles that are there at the same time as I look at Jesus and how he lived his life and how he treated people. He is the ultimate revelation of God to us. So really, when it comes down to it, WWJD, what would Jesus do, really is a great way to look at the Bible and the kingdom principles that are around us. And I will continue to do that. I hope your week has started well and that you will look to Jesus every time you have a question about how to live your faith life and how to follow after God's ways. Have a good rest of the week.